So I've driven 30 kilometers up this Forest Service road in the North Shuswap today. I've brought you here to answer the question, when you discard something with intentionality, what do you gain? Because it's an eclipse question for you to work with over the next 2 weeks until the next new moon. Every new and full moon, I take you into nature to spend some peaceful time close to the elements, where I tap into some advice for you using the timeless wisdom of tarot cards. Pick your reading now. Listen to your reading, think about what you want, set one intention, and I'll see you here in 1 week for the half moon check-in for strategies to help you stick to any new or full moon intentions you make today. Eclipses are about beginnings and endings, but this week it'll likely be the beginning of an ending because the eclipse is happening near a mathematical point in the sky known as the South Node. Do you hear the waterfalls? We're heading there. So why come out here to pull your cards? I think it's easier to get perspective when we step outside of our day-to-day. And where better for us to go than into nature? A place where we intuitively know we belong, just as we are in this moment. Eclipse season happens every 6 months, and because of that, it's considered an energetic season in the year. It shakes us up, gives us a glimpse of our shadow. Personally, I find it fascinating to think about these slower energetic shifts that are taking place in the background of our day-to-day lives. And it's only when we look back over the last 6 months or even 2-3 years that we actually find out just where our subconscious was taking us. Taking us to the next place, the next relationship, the next job, the next passion. Eclipse stories add a chapter every 6 months to a story that lasts about 18 months long. This eclipse story in Pisces and Virgo started in January of 2025. So think back to some of the themes that you've been working on. I'd love to hear about any shakeups that have been taking place in your life, particularly if they pop up this month. Eclipses are trickster energy, though. They're more like the pebble that starts the avalanche. Sometimes we only recognize the pebble when we look backwards, but it does make life intriguing. Hello to everybody who wanted their reading at a wide open, peaceful beach. Today, because it's winter, I've brought my readings, a photograph of them on my phone so I can save my nice cards. So in honor of eclipse season, we've asked the cards today, what can you gain by intentionally discarding something? I know it's trite to say, my beach buddies, but you're going to gain you. This is no small thing, and I think you've wanted it for a while. I think you've been putting it out to the universe. Your oracle card is heaven sent. I'll show you a picture of it. You've been raising your vibration, as they say, for quite a while. And the thing that eclipse season is pointing to for you, I would say, is that you have the pain of intentionally moving on from some people in your life who have habits that don't serve you anymore, who have habits that you yourself are intentionally leaving behind. Whether you've been growing apart or not, This is a very conscious choice you're making this eclipse season. So if you want to know more about eclipse season, you can go back, and in the intro, I've given you a few details about it. But it really is about shedding. This particular moon of this particular eclipse season is particularly about shedding because it's next to the South Node in Virgo. You moving on is actually happening because you're making the choice. What was the question about this eclipse season? What can you gain by intentionally discarding something? And the card in this spread, in this Celtic cross that represents you, is the choice card, the Lovers. And in it, I see you making a strong decision to choose you over someone else in your life. And this is because this eclipse season, you're getting very clear on your ideals. You have the Star card in the near future, and in this deck, it's a really kind woman with her hand outstretched to help someone out of the rubble. You're choosing you. You're helping you out of the rubble. You're putting on your mask first. And I think that this has been a difficult decision for you, difficult for you to come to. I think you're an incredibly nurturing person who really wanted these other people to come with you. I think that you've stayed for a while. When I look at the heart of your reading, I see the Three of Wands, and it's the only card that's reversed in the entire reading. And the Three of Wands is, in this deck, a backpacker who's leading the way into the unknown across incredible mountain vistas. You are a person of very strong vision. You really hoped in your heart of hearts to share this vision, to have a partner in crime with you. And I see that because at the base of your reading, the foundation of your reading, we have a celebratory card. It's even the marriage card for some people. It's the Four of Wands. And again, that's echoed in the heart of your reading because I see the card that's crossing you, which is the card that is challenging you, is the Nine of Cups, which is the happiness card. And in this deck, again, it's a couple celebrating their anniversary. On the bottom, we have a couple celebrating a marriage. So whoever this person is that you need to move on from so that you can institute the healthy, constructive habits that align with your vision for your life, for your best life. It's painful that you have to move on from this person. Again, the pain is definitely for a person. There's always pieces of a person that we're going to miss. But the biggest pain is that the break from our own vision, the break from our own desires. I see in the recent past you have the Seven of Swords. You really did try to make this work. You tried to make do. I see in the heart of your reading the Judgment card. And in this particular deck, it's a person who's walking out the door to an angel trumpeting on a trumpet, away from people who are self-destructive. In this case, they're alcoholic and partying. I have nothing against alcohol and I have nothing against parties when it's healthy, when it's fun. But these people are overdoing it. In fact, I see a lot of party cards here. So potentially you've been going through a very social time and a lot of your energy has been going to what on the surface is a lot of fun and very bonding with some people, but really for your soul right now, it's frivolous. You're looking for something a lot deeper, a lot grander. I mean, I see you looking to connect with your concept of God. And I say that word in the most metaphorical sense. My God has no human face, has no human morals. I look to nature for what's possible, for what's light and what's dark. But I'd be really interested to know what you connect to. So I'd love to hear about it in the comments if you want to tell me what your concept of a God is. I'm interested in the richness and the diversity of a concept of God. It's just your divine thoughts are shaking your life here on earth, the mundane of every day, and it's shaking away some relationships. So if you can engage with them intentionally this eclipse season for the next 2 weeks, you will gain yourself. You will gain that vision. You will gain that composure. You will gain power, personal power. Now, on the outside of you, someone is sad. I don't think that it's you, actually. So here we have the Three of Cups, the disappointment card. You're definitely disappointing somebody by moving on, by pulling back, and by aligning with your values. They would really like you to stay by their side. I don't think they're bad people. I think that they're struggling. I don't even think they're bad for you. I don't think that you're walking away from this person forever. You're just putting in some safe boundaries. And you're going to feel so much more light of heart when you put in those safe boundaries with someone who might be draining your energy away from what you really need to accomplish and what you really need to move towards. And you're moving towards the Sun card, one of my absolute most glorious, most shiny cards in this entire deck. And it's interesting that I chose your reading for this setting before I even looked at the cards, because we have the glorious golden shining sun, afternoon winter sun, warming us to the core right now. You are going to warm you to the core right now. And you don't need anybody else to help you do that. Yes, if I look at your oracle card once again, you are opening up your mind and your soul to a much wider scope of energy coming in. And this energy is going to fill you with Shakti. It's going to fill you with essential energy. You've been wondering where that energy went, and I have a feeling, because your outcome card here is the Ace of Swords. You've been looking for a diagnosis, but I think you've been looking in potentially the wrong places. But now, this eclipse season, because you're intentionally looking for what to discard, for what doesn't serve you, you're going to get very clear that it's a boundary and a safe space with a people or a person who has habits that drags you away from your true work right now. I think you were already doing this before you came to this reading. You have the major arcana cards to show it. You have the Lovers as you, and you have the Star card in your near future, and you have Heaven Sent as an oracle. This energy has been building and building and building. I think you just didn't know how to walk away gracefully. So my final advice to you to sum up this reading is, this week, take some time to ponder how to put in those boundaries and move slightly away and put some distance between you and what drains you, and figure out how to do it gracefully. You don't need to axe these people out of your life. You need to teach them how to walk with you. Have some beautiful, deep reflection in the next week. And I hope to see you here next week for the half moon reading. We'll get some more advice to finish off eclipse season. Hello everyone, and welcome to your eclipse reading. Welcome to this secret grotto in the woods, the winter woods. So I've brought a photograph of your reading on my phone today so that I could be very flexible in this snowy landscape with my cards. But the question that we're asking the tarot cards today is, what can you gain by intentionally discarding something? And if you missed the discussion on eclipse season, go back to the intro. I have a little bit there to give you some context. But it's interesting. I don't look at the cards till I've picked the natural space that I want to read for you in. And I don't think it's amiss that I wanted to be in something secluded and sheltered and protected and cozy, but full of light and space, and all of the lights being reflected to me from the snow. And there's this cold, crisp air, and there's this beautiful flowing creek. It's flowing with ease and freedom. And I find your reading tricky, tricksy. So there are a lot of cards with two people in them. All three of your heart cards. We start with the Temperance card, the King of Swords, and they're crossed by the Knight of Swords. And there are very much two people in each of these cards, which I will show you. So the first thing I ask myself is, this is about you and another person, and I'm getting a deep no in that. So this is going to be the most internalized reading, I would say. This is about you with you. There's very much two polarized parts of you. And you really would like, well, I was going to say you really would like to mix them, but honestly, I think what's coming to mind is you would like to subdue one to your will. So the very first card, the Temperance card in this deck, is about the perfect mix. We have the two grumpy folks in the front, and we have this very wise woman in the back who's bringing the perfect elixirs to them. So I think you understand that integration is a lot more powerful than suppressing one of your parts. If you've heard about IFS therapy or parts work, we know this. There is a wise person in us, and then there's all the other little parts in all their stages of development. And really, they all have a seat at the table. They just don't want to let each and every one of those parts, say our teenager part, drive the bus, as they say. So I think you're all three of the people in this card. You are the wise person in the back, but you're also these other parts that don't exactly get along inside you. You know the best thing is to have the perfect mix, but the rest of the cards are telling me that really you'd rather just subdue the parts you don't like. So the first thing that you can intentionally discard is wanting to subdue parts, wanting to dominatrix them and shut them up. By doing that, you will achieve integration, which is a much more solid and robust and flexible foundation, very, very resilient, compared to suppressing parts, who then will like to poke their head out at the least best time, at the time when they're going to completely F up everything that you're trying to build. Okay, now what's interesting is in the heart of your reading, the Temperance card is your energy, your intention. The card that's covering you, which is the card that's going to help you, is the King of Swords. The card that is not helping you, it's crossing you, is the Knight of Swords. Knights of Swords charge ahead. They bring a very volatile energy. Now that explosive energy is really great at getting things started, getting things moving, things that are stagnant. You want to throw a knight energy at that. But in this case, it's crossing you. You need to actually slow down. The King of Swords comes at things much more strategically, much more systematically. They look for data and evidence. The Swords is all about thinking, and the mind is only really good at being a tool. It's really great at strategizing, at analysis, but we don't want it to let it run away from us. We want to keep it as a tool in our hand. So I love that the King of Swords is covering you. I just don't want it to bleed into this dominatrix potential energy you got going on with other parts of yourself. So use the King of Swords like a wise tool. So I'm really laughing because I just keep hearing that you gave yourself a haircut you didn't like. I don't know if that's for some of you, but maybe recently you had a whole I'm just going to change my image. I'm just going to fake it till I make it. I'm going to be the part that I like the best, and all the other ones can screw off. And you marched into some hairdresser or something and you gave yourself a haircut and now you're regretting it. So that's for some of you. And honestly, maybe you could expand that to an image makeover. You know, changing things on the outside of us actually is an incredibly useful thing to do sometimes. It can really spur an inner change. I don't think change only comes from the inside, especially if you're able to be playful with it. But I am not seeing playful energy in these cards. I'm seeing very hella serious energy in here. And it's almost like you've been looking to outside sources like social media, whatever media that you're consuming. You're like, I want that. And if I put that on me, I'm going to get it. And other parts of you are rebelling. Now it's interesting because on the surface, the 4 cards that are surrounding the heart of your spread. So first off, 3 of them have solo vibes. They really have vibes of you've been deep. This isn't a frivolous change that you want to make for yourself. I think you're really trying to shift your life. You're trying to shift it to pursue and enjoy things that really light you up and that matter to you. And I can see that in the Hermit card, you've been kind of on your own doing this. But my problem is that your Oracle card says diving for light. You've been diving deep inside, but I feel like you've gotten distracted by some shiny shit on the outside. That's not true light. Because if you're coming from the Hermit card, which is following your inner light on the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck, it's the Hermit who's walking the craggy mountains carrying his own lantern with his head bowed and his eyes closed. You need to be following your own light. Now, the problem in this modern world is it can be very difficult to know your true authentic light. And even if you find it, to like it without comparing it to others. So I'm getting a huge you're comparing yourself to others and you're trying to push yourself from the outside in towards that with willpower. So intentionally relaxing that willpower in the next 2 weeks during this eclipse season, that could be a really generative focus for you. Softening your grip, because in your near future card, I see the Queen of Cups. And here's this really wise counselor handing over a coffee to someone who really needs it, having a chat. Okay, here's where other people come in. So lately I've been doing this journaling practice, and it is very different to say it out loud to someone else. So I feel that these 3 other cards, although they're beautiful, peaceful cards, the Ace of Coins, the Hermit, the Two of Wands at the bottom, you've been really asking yourself deep, important questions about your direction and where you're heading to, but you've been doing it completely alone. And I wonder if it's a little bit of this tentativeness because you're not sure if your outside meets your inside, and you're trying to like workshop that with an image change and just show up to all the important people, your friends, your family, social media, and already show them the perfect shiny version of you without the in-between steps. And you're going to lose out on your authenticity if you do that. And you're going to wake up 6 months from now at the next eclipse season going, what the hell happened? This is not where I'm meant to be. This feels hollow. This is not me. Why am I doing this? So I need you to anchor it with some trusted people. I think the Queen of Cups is saying, okay, take all this internal investigation that you've been doing and go and say it out loud to someone trusted and listen to yourself and allow them to reflect you back to you. You are so close. The energy of you in this reading is the Page of Coins, the Page of Discs. This is manifestation energy in the real world. But the page is a beginning. You are so close to actually finding the very authentic new direction, the very authentic version of you want to present to the world. If you just dial back the comparison energy. So another thing, if you intentionally curate the fuck out of your social media feeds so that you can see yourself more, you can feel yourself more, what is it you really want to do? You are very close to actually finding the solid thing that can bloom, the new direction, the new you that can bloom. And now I'm just going to say in this last line, these last 4 cards that lead to the outcome in a Celtic cross. We have Page of Coins, Devil, 5 of Swords, Knight of Cups. So what's interesting is I want you to move away from the Knight of Swords energy, the charging ahead from your mind only. And your best outcome is the Knight of Cups. And here we have a very romantic young person serenading someone who's a little suspicious of them. So again, I see these 2 people in the card and I think it's you with you again. You need to allow this new authentic part of you that wants to come out and show up in the world. You need to allow them they're weird. You need to allow them they're over precious. You need to allow them whatever you think the world is going to say, whoa, that's just it. You need to love that part of you. I just feel like he's radiating joy and energy and creativity. He is where you are going to get the inspiration you're looking for, and it will eventually land in the world. It's just you're not quite trusting those parts of you. You're still looking out for models. And unfortunately, someone else's path is not going to work for you. So in this eclipse season, the next couple of weeks, I think you really need to grieve that those paths are not your path. But I have to say, you're kind of into this dominatrix energy. So that's what's so interesting is this last line of cards. It's flanked by these 2 softer cards, and then bang in the middle, we have the Devil and we have the 5 of Swords. I mean, you like it dark. You like it. You like controlling yourself. There's a like there. But I'm really just not sensing that that's working for you in this situation. Now, I never want to tell you to throw any parts of you away. Like I said, this is about having all the parts have a place at the table. But this reading is really saying, please lean into the softer energy in you, the softer parts, the ones that are open to you being freaky and weird and not quite everybody's taste. I'll finish with your oracle card. You are diving for light. And what I love on this card is it's the number 11. Whenever you see the number 11 in a tarot card, or you see images on a tarot card where there's two pillars or two upright structures of some kind, that's a gate, that's a threshold. That's an incredibly exciting place to be. But it's difficult because you're neither where you were or where you're going. You have to hold really high sensation to make this transition. So expect high sensation in the next few weeks during this eclipse season. And also because it's eclipse season, go back to the intro and listen to me. This story, it's starting a massive theme that won't end for 6 months. So this is really a 6-month journey for you that I'm handing, but it is incredibly creative. And there's nothing like finding yourself. There is nothing more resilient than being you. So I think I'm going to need sunglasses for this one. Oh, it could be summer. So I choose the place before I look at the cards, and often I find there's a similar energy. So right now I'm sitting on some kind of broken foundation on this beach. I don't know what was here, but it needed a major foundation. There's tons of boulders and rocks built up in these massive beams, but they're rotting away, they're slipping away, they're going back to nature. And when I look at your reading, and I asked the question for these eclipse readings, what can I gain by intentionally discarding something? Because that's really what this particular full moon eclipse is about. It's about letting go of something more than a beginning. And if you want to know more about that, I talked about it a bit about eclipses in the introduction. To save my cards out here in the wild, I've brought a photograph of your reading. So to really dig into your reading, I see a big chunk of cards of this Celtic cross, all telling a past story. I think you were really fired up with some kind of idea that you invested in not that long ago. And it really seemed like a brilliant idea, but it's been a bit of a struggle. So at the base of your card, I see the Queen of Coins, who is selling garden produce, and I see in the recent past the Queen of Wands, who is conducting an orchestra. Queen of Wands is one of the most fiery queens in the deck. She herself is on fire. She has a big idea. And because I see the Queen of Coins at the bottom of your reading in the foundation, I think you began to put that in motion. Especially too, because in the heart of your reading, I see your energy is crossed by the Magician. And the Magician is an energy about first bringing an idea from the cosmos into manifestation, into form. It's an exciting card, but it's not the easiest energy when you're first trying to birth a thing. I don't think I see that the idea itself is completely over, but definitely a piece of it needs to change. A piece of it has died, a way of doing it and accomplishing it has died. In the near future, you have the Ten of Swords, which is a person who's being pursued by conflict. It really hurts. The thing about the Ten of Swords is it tends to be a card about something already being done, but us not just quite accepting it yet. And so we continue to suffer about something that's already done. So first piece of advice for this eclipse season is you're really going to have to sit with that grief, because you know you need to move on. You know you need to change something really key and important about this really important endeavor that you're doing. But I think you're right on the switch of flipping the switch where you can do that, where you can really let go of how you were going about it before, and you're ready to try the new way. There's this expression in tech that I come across that I love. It's called move fast and break things. Imagine playing with that playfully. Move fast and break things. We don't have to be so attached. We don't have to identify our ego with something that isn't quite working, because we're not bad if it ends. It just needs to be done differently. So I don't want you to give up on this idea. I think it needs tweaking. I also think that you're not entirely in charge of all the circumstances. I think there is some luck here at play, because I see in your hopes the Wheel of Fortune. And your oracle card is after the storm. I'm not quite sure the storm has hit you yet. I see in the heart of your reading that you have been experiencing anxiety and worry. But what's interesting is the Nine of Swords, which can be a card of worry that doesn't help you. It's actually in the position where it's meant to help you. So I think your spidey senses know that something needs to change, that something's not working in this really fabulous idea that you've been putting all of your energy into. But you need to move out of the inspiration place that you've had, and you need to go into your logical, strategizing brain. At the top of your reading is the Queen of Swords. So you are transforming from the Queen of Coins, which is doing, to the Queen of Swords, which is thinking. Another way to put this, say this is about a business that you're working on, some kind of professional venture. You're moving from working in the business to on the business. Your vision needs to be tweaked. If you haven't already started changing and evolving, then a storm is coming for you. That Ten of Swords is going to end it, whether you're ready for it or not. But because you're watching this reading, I think that you can come intentionally towards this situation, and you yourself can be the storm. I want you to go in there and chop away what's rotten, what you know is rotten, what you know is not working, and I want you to do it without any kind of censure for yourself. I actually think that you can do this peacefully, and that would be another challenge I give to you for this eclipse season, because I see the card that is you is the Six of Swords, another swords card. And we end with the Justice card, which is the number 11 of the major arcana. And major arcana are major life lessons that really benefit us if we actually learn them well. Justice is about right thought, right action. I think you're really ready for the right action. And I think that the outside world, as harsh as it might be right now, is helping you, because I see that it's represented here by the Death card. I think you're coming from a place this week where you haven't been quite accepting the end, but you're coming into acceptance around this end and you're ready to move on. Six of Swords is the moving on card, moving from rough waters into more peaceful waters. And because you end with that right action, right thinking card, I know that you have the knowledge. I know that you're ready. These are a really big few weeks for you. This is like a wave, like you're playing in the ocean and a wave has just crashed and thrown you sideways, but you know how to let go and just let it slide you into the beach. Have you ever thought of storm watching? Something you could do right now in the Northern Hemisphere, and especially if you're on the West Coast, is you could go watch a storm and feel the exhilaration and feel how clean and still and beautiful it feels when the storm is past. Celebrate the storm in your life right now. Be part of it. Be the crashing thunder. Be the lightning. Be the waves crashing and sweeping away parts of the sand. Be the storm washing away an entire structure into the sea. I mean, I'm sitting on just such a structure that's been weathered by the elements. You be the elements. Refresh your own life. Don't be afraid to tear it down. The last little piece of information I'll add here, because I'm not sure you're in this completely on your own, because of the Justice card in this particular deck has a mediator mediating an argument between two other people. I'm not sure if you're a little bit tangled up for walking away or slashing away parts of this endeavor that you want to let go, that there's a little bit of stickiness there potentially this eclipse season, like you have to be a little bit clever about how you extricate yourself and how you really get rid of the rot. But I'm not worried. I think that's just annoying extra energy that you have to put into the situation. I think that you'll do what you have to do and it will let go. It will let go of you. It will allow you to bury it and move on. If you're not certain exactly what to keep and what to get rid of, I would say for the next 1 to 2 weeks, I would say for the next couple of weeks, that is your goal. Your goal is to sit down and sort through, get peaceful so that your feelings don't get in the way of understanding exactly what you need to get rid of, and commit to what you need to get rid of. You don't have to slash it this minute. It's coming. By the time eclipse season is over, I think it might happen naturally, but just get really intentional, get really aware of what it is that you're letting go in these next 2 weeks. This is very important work. I wish you well. If you come back here in 1 week, I'll be doing the half moon check-in, and I can give you some more advice and some more support to get you through eclipse season and support you through this very big time in your life.